That is awesome. I'm Jim Root, competition angler, author, and now a champion of conservation. I'm on a mission to visit the world's most unique locations in search of cultures shaped by the sea.
The next level of real sustainability in angling is through citizen science. I strongly believe that.
Join me and my friends on an adventure around the globe. Along the way, trying to make a difference, not just for the fish, but for the planet we all call home. Because when we protect the water, we're protecting the culture, history, and life that come with it. I've just landed in Virginia Beach, gateway to the Chesapeake Bay, which, little known fact, happens to be home to some of the biggest redfish in the world. I've got a tag from NOAA, hoping to tag my first redfish, a crucial scientific effort taking place locally. But the weather's throwing major curveballs. Will the gods of the sea smile on us this week? Let's find out. Man, give us some calm water this week, buddy. And some big fish. It's what we need. So like with fishing church, you know, it's the whole process of getting up early, getting breakfast because you don't know when your next meal is going to be, grabbing coffee, must have for me. But it gets me excited. All fishing is different when you look at fishing in the broader sense. Crab fishing in particular, like this I've never done.
Hey, how you doing?
Good morning.
You must be Jim.
I am. It's good
Nice
to
to
see you,
meet you.
man. Excited to get some crab.
Did you realize how many pounds of seafood come out of the Chesapeake Bay every year?
I have no idea.
500 million pounds. So you can imagine what it was like back in the day when there were no commercial fishing or commercial crabbing. I've been around the water all my life. We need the bay.
Meet Ron, a fifth-generation blue crabber. Together, we're headed out on the Lynnhaven River, a lifeline that flows into the legendary Chesapeake Bay. For years, I've wondered what it would feel like to live the timeless life of a crabber. Today, I get to find out.
Step back. You're pulling up crab pot.
So for the most part, is it done the same way that it was, or has it changed?
This is a lot of difference than what it was back in the day. I used to pull them all by hand, but this thing can hurt you. This machine here is very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. At the time I got it, I didn't know what I was doing. And I went to pull up a crab pot, and I reached for it, and my hand got caught in a knot, and it wrapped around my hand, and I'm stuck in the machine. I couldn't steer the boat or anything. And so I had to force myself to step on it again, let it carry my finger through, and it broke my finger, and the rope ripped it off my hand.
Oh my God. How do you do this every day by yourself? I mean, do you ever get lonely out here?
I don't know, I just enjoy the peace and quiet. It takes me about 5 hours from the time I leave the dock to fish all the pots and go back.
It's like your Ron time.
Yeah. So in Virginia, the point to point has got to fall between this and this for it to be a legal Jimmy crab.
I never realized how bright blue they are.
He's a #1 Jimmy. Yeah, you want to check him for sure. Just barely, so I would throw him back anyhow.
Today's your lucky day, buddy. You're going back. Some other fishermen may not be so gracious.
Oh, I know, I know.
You may end up in a bush.
That's a chance I take.
See you next year, buddy. Out here, it's just you and the water. A quiet communion with the elements. No audience, no pretense, just a steady rhythm of labor. There's a beauty in that grind. It's unvarnished, and it's genuine. And honestly, maybe that's why Ron fits here so perfectly. Maybe he doesn't need the world to see him, because the Bay does. Places like Dockside are the heart of a community like Virginia Beach. How long has this place been here?
The seafood market and so forth has been in here since the mid-'70s.
How long have you been here?
I've been here since the mid-'70s.
No kidding. This is where you can still find locally caught fresh fish, a direct connection to the watermen who make this place special. Dockside isn't just a market. It's the lifeblood of Virginia Beach's local food scene. The Virginia Beach Aquarium is way more than a showcase for exotic fish. Vital conservation efforts are at play here. It wasn't until I spoke with Christiana that I realized the depth of their commitment to preserving the future of the ocean and the Chesapeake Bay.
I'm a part of our Sensible Seafood program here at the aquarium. The Virginia Aquarium as a whole has a lot of different focuses on sustainability. There's a lot of fish inside of our aquarium, so when guests come, they get really excited about all the different local species. And here we're able, in this program, to translate that excitement into how they can make more sustainable choices when they're at a restaurant or even when they are fishing out on the water.
What types of criteria is there around the Sensible Seafood program?
Our program has a few different criteria when we're looking at the term sustainable seafood. Here in Virginia, we have amazing science-based management of our fisheries. Because of that, we always promote Virginia seafood. For the most part, if you're buying seafood that's wild caught here in Virginia or from one of our awesome aquacultures, it's gonna be sustainable.
I gotta admit, the tagging of fish for groups like NOAA and the aquarium is a much bigger deal than I ever even thought of. I can see how it helps us to track the species so you can really understand them and manage their populations better, especially with migratory fish.
So the other thing that I wanted to be able to share was that, we want people to fish. That's important to be able to share that.
That is something I really resonate with in wanting to make sure that my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids have the same opportunity and can enjoy that in the same way that I did.
Something I always come back to is the idea that if we want to protect something, people need to care about it first. And one way that we often care about our waters, our fisheries, is by having those interactions, especially in our younger years, getting to be out on the water fishing. I think that's such a gift to be able to enjoy that.
I mean, and you guys are blessed with such an incredible ecosystem here between the ocean, the bay, the rivers. It's so diverse. I've seen so much on this trip that I never saw in previous trips to Virginia Beach. Really blown away. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. When I asked the locals where to find the freshest farm-to-table meal, the answer has been unanimous: commune. Good morning. Are you Wilson?
Good morning, yeah, sure am.
I have never been to a restaurant with a garden this impressive. Tell me about this whole thing.
It's really just kind of a symbol of our commitment to sustainability in the food system and trying to grow as much as we possibly can out here to utilize in the restaurants.
Tell me what you've got growing right now.
Yeah, we've got the regular chives, the onion chives here in the middle. We've got a bed of mint over here. We got some peppers that are still going.
How did this whole thing happen?
For us, I think it's about kind of proving what we can do here in Virginia Beach from a sustainability aspect and kind of lead by example, I guess, in what you can do for the restaurant industry and for the culinary and hospitality industries to make them a little bit more sustainable.
Man, all this is making me really hungry right now.
Well, you're in the right place. That is our fried rice bowl, some of the goodies that we were talking about.
I gotta tell you, this is absolutely delicious.
Thank you.
Every bite It's different. Like, it just feels like it's a variety of flavor and texture all around the whole thing. I can't stop thinking about how, you know, the farm-to-table movement is getting a lot of attention now nationally. If it didn't start in this area, it definitely feels like because it's existed for so long. Tell me a little bit about, like, why Virginia Beach?
We've got so many great farmers and growers here who are growing a lot of great ingredients for us and doing it the right way too. You know, a lot of biodynamic growers, a lot of organic growers. So really, Virginia Beach was a great place within the state of Virginia to highlight the ability of a restaurant to operate sustainably.
So do you think we're sort of witnessing right now, like, the golden age of food in Virginia Beach?
I think we're just getting started.
Really?
Yeah, I think, you know, Virginia Beach has, for a long time, it was driven by, you know, the tourist industry during the summer. And you know, a lot of tourists wanted just like one thing only, fried seafood and stuff that, you know, you think of when you come to the area, but maybe not things that are necessarily sourced from the area. Now, cooks and restaurateurs and chefs and, you know, people who have earned their chops elsewhere are coming back to Virginia Beach because they, you know, either just missed home or you know, had learned what they wanted to learn and have been coming back. So we're seeing like this surge of great restaurants opening up and really doing well. So I think we're just starting to scratch the surface of what this area can be. And a lot of people are starting to realize just how diverse the cuisine can be around here.
You guys are way ahead of the curve here. And with food like this, it just, there's not a clean word I can use to describe how delicious that is. I was really hoping to land my redfish today, but the water's still too rough, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed. But instead, I'm heading inland to meet my friend Jess. Turns out, Virginia Beach isn't all sand and boardwalks. Just beyond the hustle lies Pungo, a quiet haven of farmland and open skies.
So we're going upstream, right?
Yeah.
Give me a push, Jim.
Yeah, I got you. Don't worry. Jess and I grew up together in upstate New York, and she was one of my closest friends. Jess wants to take me to a restaurant that you can actually kayak right up to. She left New York to live in Virginia Beach, so while I'm here, I'm hoping she can tell me why. I just cannot get over the fact that this is Virginia Beach. This is like not prototypical.
That's not what you think of like in the
Virginia
touristy.
Beach.
The touristy,
No.
you think of the
Loud,
boardwalk, loud,
chaos,
food
like,
everywhere.
people.
A lot, thousands of people. And then you come up here.
It's so quiet out here. Spending time here, just off the beaten path, I feel like I just stepped into a world untouched by time. Back Bay National Wildlife Refuge, in its sprawling 9,200 acres of marshes, beaches, and dunes, is way more than just a sanctuary for wildlife. It's a reminder of how deeply nature shapes the stories and rhythms of the places we call home. These cypress trees up here, they're gorgeous.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, you see these trees with the roots look like cones?
Uh-huh.
That's a cypress tree, so like all up through here in the middle.
This makes you feel really small, you know,
It
just
does.
being out here. But this is beautiful right here.
And this water is like gin clear.
Yeah,
I mean, insane visibility.
it's absolutely beautiful.
That, coolest boat I've ever been in.
You know, not gonna lie, I was a little skeptical at first.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure this thing is gonna keep up, and I think that's the smoothest thing I've ever been on for a kayak.
Bone dry.
Ah, thank you so much.
That looks amazing.
Oh,
Here.
Cheers.
Cheers. That was awesome.
That was so
Thank
great.
you so much for showing
thank
me
you for
this
bringing
place.
me. Ooh, thank you.
Oh my God, what is this?
Sweet potato biscuit.
Wow. Oh my God, I can't wait.
These are so good.
Yes. These oysters were literally caught minutes from here. Salud.
Salud.
Oh my God, that is delicious.
I'm so happy
That
you
is
like
like
it.
the freshest oyster I've ever eaten. It's my lucky day, and Neptune has pulled through. The weather broke, While the seas have calmed, anything can happen. I was actually supposed to leave Virginia Beach today, but there is no way in hell I'm going home without tagging my first red drum. Fortunately, this isn't just any body of water, and Craig isn't just any angler. Craig is a legend in the Chesapeake Bay. He's a prolific fisherman and environmental steward. He's caught and tagged hundreds of striped bass and some of the largest redfish I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know. I don't know anybody who's tagged a redfish, even here where people catch redfish literally every day. So my dad fished. My dad's dad fished a lot, in the family when I was little. But that was just like very recreational fishing. When I was 13, I got a little 11-foot Boston whaler, and I used to skirt around in the river, and my dad would be like, stay within the mouth of the river. And that was great. That was good for like 4 months until I realized it was like a word of mouth, like honor system. And once I got around the corner, he couldn't see me anyway. I would go out and catch fish that I couldn't catch in the river, and I'd be so excited to come home, right, and tell everybody, because you catch a fish and you want to tell your buddies. And so one day I came in, I was like 13 or 14 maybe, and I come busting in the front door. I'm like, Dad, I caught 7 big ones. He's like, oh really? And I was like, yeah. He's like, how big were they? I told him how big they were, and he knew that those fish were not in the river. And I thought that he was gonna be mad once I realized, and he was like, dude, that's sick. I used to do the same thing, and since then I've been pursuing the best bite that I can, driving wherever is good. And for me right now, Virginia Beach is good. Yep, there he is. Oh, Jim. Boy.
Yeah. Oh. Come here.
And with that, I've just landed the biggest redfish I've ever caught on the Atlantic. But even this monster isn't big enough to tag.
Mikey, that's 100%. No.
Angler's paradise for sure. I mean, You got the ocean, the Chesapeake Bay, and in striking distance, you have rivers. If we drive less than 3 hours, we can catch muskie, we can catch striped bass, we can catch redfish, we can catch tarpon, we can catch tunas, marlin, pretty much every species you could imagine. All of my fishing friends, really, at this point in my life, are my very tightest friends. I mean, you can't go out on a boat with somebody in the middle of the night for hours on end in a situation where you're gonna do this hundreds of times over, right? It's just a numbers game before something goes wrong. And then, all right, now you're stuck on a boat with a dude in the middle of the night, in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay, and it's blowing 20 knots, and you don't know what to do other than be with the guys around you, you know what I mean? And that kind of friendship is the best. That type of experience really forges like lifelong friendships. Oh, there he is. Got him. That's him. Let's go. That's the big one. He's got me in the shit. Come on. Fish is gonna break me off. He's through the pilings. Hold on, boys. Might get a little crazy at any point if I do something nuts, so just keep your wits about you.
As I watch Craig fight the fish and drive the boat in this rough water, I am blown away.
Oh, I just got him out. Nope, not out.
It's one thing to fight a fish through bridge pilings. It's another to maneuver the boat while doing it.
Yep, got him out. Let's go.
He is, without a doubt, a master of his craft.
All right, this is a tagger. I think we should tag this fish.
Yeah. Awesome, bro. Heck yeah.
40 inches on the button, 24 pounds.
Yep.
All right, why don't you give me a tag, because we haven't had her out long. She'll be just fine.
And
This is the applicator.
Yep. There.
Beautiful. We're in.
It's the first tagged redfish. Right there.
Let's go.
Oh no, she gone. She gone.
She goes. Woo! All right.
That is awesome. No, that was one of the coolest things I've ever done.
You like that?
I'm not kidding.
So.
Like tagging that fish.
Yeah.
That is
so cool. I've never tagged a redfish. It's the first. I've caught thousands of them. That's the first one I've ever tagged, ever. I'm really excited to learn about it and hear back. I tag fish because I want to understand fish. That's the whole reason that I go fishing. Getting the bite is awesome, but ultimately, it's about understanding the fish as a whole, as a being. Like, fishing is cool, but it's really just a medium to communicate with them, right? They're like as foreign as a Martian is to us. We can't speak to them. They live in an entirely different domain as us. So being able to catch them and really heavily focus on the environmental factors around catching them and how to catch them has really taught me so much about life in general, understanding what's going on around me. Like, all these fish are doing things for a reason. They're not just randomly behaved. You know what I mean? They're strategically minded beings. Probably the biggest thing I've learned from that. If you can see the value in understanding and connecting with the inner workings of a fish, then you can do that with all walks of life. We overfish the redfish populations dreadfully. In 1984, the ASFMC decided that it was time to do something, and they basically wrote up suggested regulations for what redfish should be. And this is the first time that we implemented a slot limit, which is actually fairly common now. It was 18 to 27 inches. Redfish are among the slowest growing inshore fish that exist. They live to at least 50 years old, which is crazy. So when you start removing huge redfish from the system, it takes so long to get them back. It took me 5 minutes to catch that fish, and it took it 30 years to get that size, right? So as we started to remove these spawning fish, our population absolutely spiraled downwards in a horrible way. The majority of states adopted this same slot limit. That allowed for a relatively short period of time where the redfish could be harvested before it reached sexual maturity. Once it reaches sexual maturity, it's safe. That's particularly useful for a redfish due to its old age. Since then, our fishery has absolutely exploded. I mean, we had no redfish in the early 80s. People didn't know what they were. This is the most productive, reliable fishery that I've ever seen. We learn a little bit more about ourselves and the world every time we go.
Anglers are some of the best environmental stewards on the planet.
We spend our lives looking at the environment and trying to interact with it in a way that allows us to understand it. I really do think that the ticket to the next generation of conservationists and the next level of real sustainability in angling is through anglers. It's through citizen science. I strongly believe that. And so the more people that we can get into tagging fish, into going out there and releasing the fish they catch, away from taking home, one for dinner, and into sharing the value of a living fish, the better off we're gonna be.
Coming through. Here we go. Take that one right there. Beer delivery.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers,
everybody.
Cheers.
Tell me about your catch today.
Man, today was pretty awesome. Got into some crabs.
Here, where the Atlantic Ocean meets the Chesapeake Bay, time ebbs and flows like the tides. Unhurried, unbroken. The waves, the wind, the salt, they shape this place as they have for millennia, indifferent to the rise and fall of civilizations. This is a place where history lingers in the brine, from the indigenous tribes who first cast their nets, to the boom of menhaden factories, from dawn-lit fishing boats to anglers of all ages, chasing dreams from the piers. Virginia Beach has always been a city shaped by the bounty of the sea. Fishing here is more than an industry. It's a tether to something ancient, a rhythm that connects us to the past. Stand still long enough and you can feel it, the pulse of a story that's evolved but never disappeared. Out here, the past isn't gone. It's just beneath the surface, waiting to be rediscovered.